everyone, Melissa Crook here, designer for Bello's Designs. Today I'm going to be sharing with you this project that I made using a piece of fabric and a two-piece embroidery hoop. We're going to be doing like a watercolor technique on fabric. And this makes just a cute little wall hanger. So for the supplies that we're going to use to make this project, you will need a piece of white cotton fabric. This is just cheap white cotton that I picked up at like probably Walmart or Hobby Lobby. It's just plain solid cotton white fabric. And then I washed it and ironed it, and I cut my pieces approximately 10 by 10 or so. Next you will need the stamps, and we're using the Peony from Sweet Poppy Stencils. This is Peony A6. And then we're using the Dragonfly from Sweet Poppy Stencils, Dragonfly Blooms. And this is an A5 stamp set. For the inks, we're going to be stamping first with Elements ink by Lavinia Stamps in Pine, in Confetti, and Violet Chalk. For the VersaFine Clair inks, we're going to use Shady Lane, Glamorous, and Nocturne. For some highlights and interest, we're going to be using some liquid pearls, and I have lavender lace, Ballerina, Hydrangea, and lemon chiffon. You'll need a spray bottle of water. You'll need, of course, your two-piece 6-inch embroidery hoop, and I just have them in the bamboo. And then you also need, your iron, your fabric, and a stamping platform. Now mine is the Bitonic Tim Holtz, it's Tim Holtz's Bitonic Studios. Patty sells the MISTI. I just happen to have this one, so that's what I use. Okay, let's get started. I have just another piece of the white cotton fabric that I have ironed. It's cut to about a 10 by 10 square, and that way when we place our circle over it, there'll be plenty that we can cut off and trim. But okay, I'm going to take our Peony stamp and place it on our platform. And I'm going to set this up so we can stamp right in the center, or as much as we possibly can. Oops. Okay. So I want this pretty much in the center and to the bottom. And then we're going to place our dragonfly like it's going towards it. So it'll be something like that. But we're going to do the flower first. that a press. And just for purposes of the video, I'm going to show you how to stamp this. Okay, so we're going to take the pine and we're going to just dab the leaves. First. And take your rag or your towel or paper towel, whatever you're using to clean your stamps, and just wipe off the edges of the flower. Okay, and then we're going to do the flower itself in confetti. And these Sweet Poppy stencil stamps are just gorgeous. They have so much detail. They're such pretty flowers. Okay. So now we're going to place that back into our platform. And we're going to give it a good press. Now this is kind of basically the same technique that Robin Riley had our video on of doing a watercolor, a faux watercolor. It's a really fun technique. And doing it on fabric versus paper, it's going to spread a lot more and you don't have to color in your flowers if you're not a good colorer. Okay, so that gives a pretty good impression. So now we're going to take our water bottle and we're going to spray where we've stamped. And this is going to start bleeding through the fabric fibers and it's going to move, and you'll just see what happens. It'll move. All of the different ink colors are going to move and fade. And if you want to do it, if you want more color, which I'm going to put just a little bit more of the confetti on the flower. Stamp that down while it's wet. And that's just going to move a little bit more. I'm just going to fill in. If you want it to spray, if you want more spread, just add some more water. It'll dissolve that image down into the fabric. And you can take your heat gun and just give that a little dry. There we go. That's much better. So when you do your permanent inks over the top, better just to make sure they're good and dry. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing with a dragonfly, just with different colors. I want to make sure this is gonna, yep. Make sure it's going to fit. When I stamp this, I don't want it to move. So I'm just arranging my magnets to where that piece of that fabric is going to be held tight. So now with our Dragonfly, I'm going to use the Violet Chalk by Elements. And ink that up. And a good firm press. Get a good line there. Yes, that looks very nice. So, nice clean stamp, and now we're going to spray it and let all that move around. So I have a pretty good puddle of water going on here. I think you could probably see it. And it's gonna, you can see that that ink is moving throughout those fibers. You can see down here on the leaves of the peony that we didn't use blue, but because of the different colors in the dyes, in the dye ink, you're gonna get a variation of color. So it gives it a really pretty watercolor effect. It's really nice and bright. We still have some of the white fabric showing, so it's giving it a highlight that you didn't really have to do anything to, just let it be. Okay, and then in the purple, you're also going to see some of the blues coming through. I'm going to give this a quick dry. If you let it spread, when you heat set it, it kind of stops that flow. So depending on how much spread you want, you could just let this completely air dry and then stamp it again. If you don't move it, you'll be set up to go again. Right. For time's sake. And I want those wings to move a little bit more. So I'm going to add just another layer here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now that we've dried our fabric, we're going to ink up again in the Nocturne. And stamp it down. There we go. I'm going to take that stamp off. Show it there. So you can see that bleeding from the dye inks moves around, gives a really cool watercolor effect. So now we can decorate our image here, and I'm going to be using the liquid pearls. And I have, so I have Hydrangea and lavender lace, and we're going to just apply a little bit of this to the Dragonfly. We're going to use the lighter color on the wings and the darker color in the middle. And I'm just going to lightly go around the lines. I'm only going to do this on the inside of the wings. And liquid pearls will stay puffy, so raised up, and sit on top of that, and they don't soak in. And very carefully do the center without smudging. And around the body, I'm just doing a tap and pull. So just a little circle and pull. And these ones, I'm just lightly getting the flow. And then for the eyes, we're going to use Ballerina, just to give it a little bit. And maybe one on each leg. So it's really shiny. So we're done stamping, so I'm going to take this off of my platform. And I'm going to set that aside to let it dry. Okay, so now that we are done with our design, we're going to go ahead and put this together. And I'm using the 6-inch 2-piece embroidery hoop. And you're just going to put your design down and affix your hoop to it. Now, this is a little small, so it's cutting off part of the Dragonfly, but that's okay. So we're just going to tighten that up. And just pull your fabric and keep it tight. And then you can just take some scissors and I just trim in a circle all the way around. get the majority off first. Save these little scraps because you can always cut something else out of them or make little flowers. You can use your die cutting machine to make something else. And since this is going to hang on a wall, I just try to get it as close to the edge as I can. You could also sew this down. I'm not a sewer though, so I don't sew. Mess up. And there you have it. Nice little hanging wall hanging. You can hang it right on the screw there. You can still decorate your edges if you choose to do so. On some of them I've glued flowers and little things on the bottom, but this one I just like it nice and simple. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope that this gives you some inspiration. If you like the design, you could still do this on paper exactly the same way. Your effects will be a little bit different because it won't bleed out as much. But remember, you can always just use your platform, stamp it, spray it, stamp it, spray it, stamp it, spray it as many times as you like. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you haven't done so and you use Facebook, please follow our 2 Facebook groups. We have Bello's Designs Lounge for Lavinia stamps and Bello's Designs a la carte, where we showcase like Sweet Poppy stencils, Nellie's Choice, Cardio, and many other products that Patty sells in her store. So thank you again. Have a nice day.